What's going on, you guys? It's time. It's time to talk Axel. And I feel like there was a person, if there was any person to talk to about Axel, it would be one of my greatest training partners, which is, for those of you guys who don't know, his name is Sylintasassyn. Silent's actually one of the, I said it a second ago, but he's like one of my greatest training partners in Guilty Gear Xrd. And, his bedman is phenomenal. And he's carrying over those same skills over here to Strive. And right now he's been playing a lot of Axel. And even though I did make a video on talking about Axel, I figured why not we just talk to the source. This guy's my training partner. He's got to know, and he's a really smart player. And I wanted you guys to get it firsthand from him. So without further ado, got here my boy, the young Sylintasassyn. Silent, feel free to let the people know, what I'm saying, who you are, what I'm saying, all that other good stuff, I butted you up, but you got it.
What's good? Young Silent from the Age, holding it down for H-Town.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, man, let me just go and just jump right into it, man. So talk to me, Chief. How you feeling about Axel right now in Strive, dog? How you feeling?
I feel like he's good. I feel like he has potential. I want to see what the final changes are going to be in the game, as opposed to what happened in his last beta. The last beta, he was changed a little bit. So I want to see if he'll be buffed a little bit, or if he's going to remain the same, or if they're going to make different changes.
Gotcha. So if you can remember, the first beta, the one we had where it was delay based, was there any changes, any notable changes that you felt going from that version to this current one, outside of obviously the broke ass One Vision, right? the god. But we'll get on One Vision in a bit.
Before he was using the world though, he actually had Sickle Flash was a lot faster, so a lot of times there were some meaty setups that were actually quite good and effective, especially for chip, because the chip damage was good with Sickle Flash, especially Sickle Flash into bomb, immediate bomb, or delay bomb for frame trap. Did a grip of chip damage, and a lot of those things after knockdowns or attacks, they covered up for some potential gaps, and you were able to meaty more effectively on wake up, on a lot of wake up timings. That was not as prevalent in this one because there were some gaps where you could actually jump out or do different things, or it was not after a certain ender, it was not meaty on their wake up. So yeah, there was a noticeable difference there. I would say that maybe if it was kept the way that it was, it would still be strong, considering that he still got things like One Vision.
Now, we gotta do it. We have to dead this now. You said it right there. We gotta talk about it. And I don't care if we hark on this mug for this whole video, but I have to talk to you, up and down, bro. One Vision, dog, bro, too good, because that was the talk of the town when those IGN videos came about. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, One Vision too good. Blase whoop de woo. Talk to me, man. What's the how do you as an Axel main feel about One Vision actually?
I think it's great that he actually has a super that's actually useful. A super that you're actually gonna use, because if you look at it before, in the first beta, you barely even used that other super, but you used that other super because it was a reversal.
Yeah.
So it actually helped out a lot that you actually had something on the confirmed side of things, and actually gave you. Whereas you had characters like May just doing Dolphin over and over and over again and had the most damage in the game.
Right. So
yeah, I thought it was good utility, and a lot of people were talking about, well, hey man, it's cheap because you can do it from a special. Well, don't you always use supers from specials?
Right. For a super cancel or whatever.
Yeah, so basically the way that I looked at it was that it was another RC, but
Mm.
it's like a time stop RC.
Right, right,
But
right.
it also gave him something to do as far as to carry to the corner. So characters like Ramlethal effortlessly carry them to the corner. Same with
Yeah.
Milia carries people to the corner. Um, your character can has a good corner carry. Saul has insane corner carry. Lots of other characters have good corner carry, so it enabled him to do some of the same thing.
Right. It's true.
I would say maybe Faust is the only one that I don't know has corner carry at this point.
True. He's definitely a question mark right now in terms of. I mean, his combos, like obviously he got the combos, but how far across the screen? Yeah, that's definitely a question mark. For at least for now. I mean, we can always go research that shit,
Big time question mark.
but like, so obviously you've played with it, you've seen how it works. You know, this is like, I mean, I think there's a great ground basis for it, and I'm gonna hark on it pretty heavily. Like, let me ask, what was your first impression when you first saw it? Like initially, like what was your first impression? I mean, obviously we got he's got a good super for once, but like, did you have any like light bulbs like went on in your head when you saw he could just do it in neutral?
Yeah, I did see some light bulbs going on my head. My first reaction was wondering what the box was on it, if it was going to be advantage or not, if you could block it or not. That was seems one of the things that people were questioning at the beginning, as far as the strength of the move. A lot of people were assuming that you couldn't block it, like you couldn't do anything about it. But if you just use it, then you could obviously block it if you're not doing anything. There is some advantage on it from what I saw, but at the same time, there's a timer. So
Mm,
if you activate and you go and you get the purple haze on you, then you have to use it within a certain amount of time, or else it just goes away and expires.
right. So would you say? Do you think that there should be a timer on the screen, like to kind of tell like what it is? You think that might be too much? Because like I can kind of see it in a sense where if it's masked, you know what I'm saying, like they'll just never know, like they don't know how long it's gonna last, so they won't just turtle it out. So I can see how maybe if there was a timer on it, like on screen that's visible, that might kind of make it too easy to get away from. Maybe what do you think?
Well, I would say this. In Guilty Gear, a lot of times you didn't always have a timer on those types of things, right?
True.
So, I mean, for the sake of being consistent, maybe not. That should probably be in the hands of the actual player. Maybe not so much on the other person, because they know what they can do and what they can get away with and when they can attack and when they can do things. Um, I would say for the sake of an offensive game, it should be the offensive player in control of that sort of thing.
Mm,
Some of the combos can be long, some of them are short. So if they get the hits, I would say they should just go ahead and spin their bar to do a nicer combo so that they can get out of that. Because in a way, Axel's already used his 50.
right.
So I mean, why not use yours to ensure your safety? Or you can just block.
True. 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 Makes sense.
But it's also something to enforce some respect, because some characters can just swing or whatever. I remember I was playing a few times. I played against Giovanna, lots of swinging, plus frames, things of that nature. So,
Mm,
if I can't stop her from swinging on me, then how am I going to get her to respect me unless I have one vision? And if there's a timer, she knows when she can start disrespecting me. You know?
yeah, that makes, and especially because now you don't have a DP no more. You don't have Benton no more. So that is pretty huge.
Yeah. The only thing that you have is that whack super.
Right. That super is kind of eh. I mean, yeah, it does damage. Yeah, it's okay reversal, but like, it's only so good.
Man, it's trash. It's just like, all right, it's just like how it was in the other game. You just block it, and I think that there's still a gap where
Still
you
a
can
gap.
jump it.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's still there. I mean, I guess the only benefit to it now is it hits on the back end, but like, whoop de do, you still just safe jump it and just big chill.
Yeah, and then oh man, you'll feel like, oh man, I wasted my 50 where I could have used it on defense, or I could have used it to drift, or I could use it to, confirm or whatever.
True.
But
So
One Vision is a great confirm tool, I will say. So if you're anticipating a hit or you get a punish, you actually can actually make them feel it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
As opposed to, like I was saying with the corner carry, you get a hit and then you actually start doing bomber, TK bomber, and anything that you do in the time freeze. The last attack, their body behaves like that once they unfreeze. So
mm,
that's why doing bomber is important, because you're actually able to get a bomber and then recover, chase them, and then do more stuff in the air, and then another bomber potentially, because bomber has insane carry.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
By that time, you actually have the corner position, and then you have a chance of potentially breaking them through the wall, which normally he doesn't. He's not always breaking somebody through the wall. Some characters are breaking the wall without even breaking a sweat, but
Right,
he
right.
gets a chance to at that point.
And I guess that's mostly because a lot of his combos kind of reset to neutral anyway. So like, I guess in a sense that's kind of a plus side for you, right? Like, since you don't really get the wall break, you do get to hold on the corner for a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Sometimes you will want to get the damage and you want to get that extra meter gain, so that maybe you can get another one vision and you can do
Mm,
stuff, and you can actually mix up and confirm off of your RCs. So it can be kind of useful a lot of times whenever you have something in the air. There are a couple of attacks that actually make them fly into the wall. And then if you do some of those attacks, at least two of them, I believe something is like 5P, 6H. There's two of those things that do something like that. Sickle
mhm.
Flash, I believe, is another one. When they hit the ground, I know 6H for sure makes them bounce up a little bit. 5H, when they're on the ground, kind of acts like the OTG, but makes them splat against the wall. You can actually
Okay.
get them through the wall there on that, and then you can actually try to get some of that meter gain going. Some
Makes
of the
sense.
things that makes them effective cost meter.
Right.
So I feel like sometimes that's important.
Makes sense. Yeah. We've been talking about this a lot. Like the general meta, try to get that first combo and try to get the wall break so you can stay meter positive. So you can so you have the meter advantage. So that pretty much like you're playing like that 2-touch, 3-touch type game. But like you got the bar and you can do a lot of work. But I guess in the instance for Axel, you're playing a lot of neutral, and like that kind of leads to the next thing. Like his neutral, man. Like I remember when we played, man. Chip versus Axel is historically not very good for Axel, but this game, I'm like, man, this match kind of hard, man. That character's neutral is pretty good right now, man.
It's kind of a couple of reasons why I feel like it's like that. I feel like because he can cover some angles better. Now he had those improved normals and new normals that he had in Rev. Those things were great at attacking some of those angles. Not having them in this game, it would have been nice if he did have them. But
Mm,
Snail, I feel, makes up for a lot of it, especially as a dedicated ender on the ground without having to charge. The same with Air Snail. Air Snail covers a lot of ground. It's good and neutral. It's able to stop a lot of approaches as opposed to just flailing sometimes on the ground,
mm-hmm.
because there's a dead space where a lot of times people will try to instant air dash or whatever. So it can cover a certain range where people try to instant air dash and on the ground when they try to move forward with running forward.
Double
And it
back
felt
that chip damage on off that too was kind of massive.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I feel like being able to cover those angles, and also, just being real, he doesn't have the teleport anymore, so that's
Yeah,
something that he doesn't have to worry about.
that's fine. We already know, Doug. We already know that matchup is. I am not gonna front. Like it is a lot harder, and I know that like for what it's worth, like obviously that matchup will change as we play it over time. I still do think, like right now, I would say it's pretty even. And instead of, especially after playing what's his name from Japan, I can't think of his name anymore, but I did play that alongside with that Japanese player, and then you Like, and y'all, man, that's another thing too, right? His play style now it's not just pure zoning no more. Like, you could actually you could scrap with him now.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that sometimes when I've played against Chip, the up close normals, especially in the first beta when I was still learning and I didn't have a chance to get into training mode, they were a problem because he was running in my face, and then I didn't have a good time dealing with Alpha at the time.
Yeah, it was really safe.
The flash buttons were a problem, the jabs, things like that. So, he had good confirms off of the lights into 6P and stuff like that. Those were a hard time to deal with.
And now, like, that character's, I'm not gonna front, that round star's kind of scary, dog. Round start against Axel's Chip. Friends, if y'all watching this, man, round start is with Chip versus Axel. It's very scientific. Like, Axel actually has like 2 or 3 buttons that are super good in the opening. Like, it's kind of problematic. It's kind of problematic. Like, Axel's round start's kind of OD right now, to be honest.
It's definitely not something that I'm used to. I'm used to, like, playing against your Chip and just having to clam up because I'm like, all right, well, 2S is about to happen.
2S. Yep.
I got a block.
Yep. 2S. 7 frame stagger and rev. Yeah, it's great. But now it's like, man, Chip don't even have a good 7 frame normal to try to like even stuff that. Like, for those of you that are watching, they're kind of curious about it. Like, so Axel's far slash is actually super strong, at the round start, almost against any character, pretty much. That normal's pretty fast, and like the range on it, like, I guess in the instance of Chip in particular, like, it's very difficult for Chip to backdash it, because backdashes in this game, their iframes are not as long as the older Guilty Gears. So like, even if I was to perfectly time my backdash, that button's still active to catch the backdash. I'm sure that's the same for a lot of the cast.
Man, look, I feel like that button was buffed in the second beta. I don't know for certain, but it definitely feels like it is because of the range seems like it's been extended.
Oh, absolutely.
So I remember in some instances where if I got a big time counter hit, and well, this problem was still in the second beta. Like, you get a big counter hit, big counter, let's say fatal counter or whatever, and then you try to press the button too fast. It feels like it eats your input. It doesn't come out. So you have to mash a little bit more. Well, I felt like a lot of the hits that I got up close, if I did close S 5H or close S 5S 5H, it did not connect. This game, this beta, seemed like it was constantly hitting. So that's just me. It felt like it was
way more consistent
a little bit.
Yeah,
that for sure.
That button was I feel strongly his buttons are mad good, like, across the board. I feel like he has like 6P is kind of weird, but like, it feels like everything else is like pretty much spot on.
Yeah, 6P. I didn't use it always too much, but it was good to 2-1 into it. It's pretty good for a frame trap. If you hit it on the counter hit, you can get a combo off of it. You can use it as a link. Like, you can use it as a link with a 5S into your Ender or 5S sweep, or you can actually 6P link it as sweep. I would say 6P, 5K, 2D was very consistent. Sometimes when I was in training mode and I was trying to see if those links were still there from the first beta, I got a black bead. So I think that it's still there, but maybe my timing was a little bit off.
Gotcha. Or it's probably just a counter hit confirmed too. It was most likely probably still working with his counter hit. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like, I don't know, everything I've seen from him, like, this beta, it just screamed like this character's really good. And it kind of, like, I guess it kind of leads me into like the next thing. Now, you know how we feel about tier lists and strength of characters and predictions and whatnot. So like, if you had to, if I put a plastic fork to your head and threatened your life, All right, hypothetically, where like as he stands right now, where do you think he would be, like potentially speaking? Like potentially speaking, with a little bit of evolution. We'll just I'll throw a little bit of future in there, just a little bit.
All right, I think that right now you can place him in the middle. My positive, optimistic way of thinking is that he can fight everybody in the cast. I feel like, I'm not sure who all the problem matchups will be right now. I feel like he's really good because he had a good matchup against the problem of the beta, Potemkin.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a good match for you.
Yeah, I feel like Milia in a way was hit or miss. I still feel like, Chip, you had to in some instances when he got up close, you had to play really good on defense.
Mm.
I feel like he did I feel like he destroys Faust. I feel like he does great against Nago, really good against Sol and Kai. I think that he does. I'm not sure about Giovanna. That's not a matchup that I played a lot. I would say that
Theory
because I
fighting.
looked at her frame data and she had some pluses and some very minute negative moves
Mm-hmm.
that maybe it could be a problem. I know that some of those buttons were being abused, and I was like, okay, so what's the frame data on this button again?
Right. Cause I
I
know
feel like
her spiral
May,
arrow was pretty good too. But yeah, go ahead. May.
yeah, 6P can beat it, but at the same time, you gotta have reactions or preemptive reaction for it. I feel like May probably might still be a problem. He can deal with her for sure, but it's still like the same thing, right? Whenever somebody
Someone
gets
gets
in,
in.
they can
Yeah.
now damage him. But the thing is that she's one of those characters that steamrolls hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. She could definitely, snowball into some shenanigans. And actually, I'm kind of this is actually what I was gonna lead into. I was gonna talk about matchups. So I guess this kind of got a 2-in-1 for this. So yeah, I'm yeah. Go ahead, May. Who else? Who else you got?
I feel like May is a potential problem. Melia to an extent because she's fast, right? But I feel like you can kind of because you can catch some of these angles, you can kind of wall her off. Her speed is it's different from what was in the previous game. You know to expect a double air dash, but to me, the way that the air dashes are now, it doesn't seem like she covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, she
Like you
doesn't.
can measure where she's gonna stop. Her fastball to me seems okay, but it doesn't seem like it's as good as the other games. So,
Mhm.
you can react to her landing and stuff like that. So her mobility, although it's great for what the game is, I feel like going from the other game, it's a little bit of a step down.
I feel you. You feel like since you can cover those angles better now with Axel, it's like all right, it's not as bad just because you can cover those bases. That makes sense. So
Yeah, I just feel like you could just cover that. And his damage output is really good too. So it's like, all right,
yeah, bro, just a two. Like this man, 3-piece in the snail was like 30-40%. Like, come on, man. So much. So his damage is so good. It's so
yeah,
good.
man, for sure. I feel like he has a good time against Leo until he gets in,
Of
but
course.
it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's the
But the
same
thing
story.
that I noticed was having to adjust to seeing back turn H.
Yeah, it's different now. It definitely feels different.
It definitely feels different. I didn't see a lot of command grab until it was round ender.
Mm.
I felt like the back turn, well, actually the run through was reactable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, as
It's
always.
kind of the same thing about that. You can mash a light on it, or you could throw it.
But you know who I gotta ask about now. We have to talk about Senorita Valentine, man.
Oh man,
I don't know how much you played that matchup or not, but how you feel about that matchup?
yeah, man. So I played against some JP Ramlethals. I also played local Ramlethals. I played Ray Play. I also played Isaac J. I feel like that's a even matchup. The way that I look at it, right, is there was a lot of talk about Ramathal being really strong, and I would say that she's a lot easier to use this time than she was before.
Absolutely.
They put a premium on the neutral. A lot of complaints back then were about she has difficult neutral, but she's amazing in the corner, right?
Right.
So it seemed like the neutral was a little bit more straightforward this time. The strategy was to keep these swords so that you can attack from range and to use that to 2-in-1 into your sword special. However, there were some spots where you could actually carry them to the corner when it shot out because of the way that they acted on hit from the
Hmm.
sword shot. So sometimes it comboed and sometimes it was a frame trap. So it would make them tumble back and they would be recovering into the explosion on the
Explosion.
wall.
Yeah.
So I would say if they wasted it and they were not near the explosion, then you had some more of an advantage.
Hmm.
In those cases, you could actually rush. I felt like you could rush her down or, play a good range game against her because she could not play that same range game against you.
I can see that because especially with like, I mean, let's just be honest. Let's just be serious here. 2H, 5P, 2P, like those buttons plus rinsing, and especially with 2H being cancelable now, like I just feel like that neutral footsie game that she wants to play, she's not always going to be in range for that, especially when you got full screen command grab with clothesline.
Right.
Like she has to, I feel like she has to make a move. And
Right. It's like jump H where a lot of people like to abuse it.
yeah,
He actually 2S it. So, if you time it right, he's not gonna get hit by it. It's one of the few things that actually can anti-air it from what I
yeah.
tell.
Most characters, because it's I'm gonna hark on this very very briefly, and I'll make another video on this later. But we have some people out here that weren't used to scramble at all. Because that's what we called Ram back then. For those of y'all that don't know, so in Houston we do have a really good Ramathal player, Ghost Bear, and jumping around and hitting jump P and K. That's kind of like the thing you do with Ram, on top of using jump H. And we all are already used to jump H being really dumb. Like anyone who's played Xrd and played against good Ram players, you know that early on in Sign and like Sign 1.5, and even going into Rev. Like she's kind of flailing around with jump P's and jump K's to try to like make it very difficult for you to anti-air on top of using jump H, and like those buttons are very very annoying. And in this game, it's a lot of the same, but when you have characters that can actually anti-air it, like it's huge because there's no like the problem with anti-airing it is like the box on it where you're trying to hit it, like the hittable box or the hurt box for that move is further up towards the character versus not. So you can't just hit it like you would like a normal to the anti-air. This character, since Axel's the same, right? His 2S is like a move that doesn't really like you can hit him, but like the hurt box forward is deeper down. And since he's crouching and doing this makes his anti-air like flawless down there, I would assume. And I mean it was like that previously, but like I would assume even more so now. It's even easier.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy now for sure. Another thing I wanted to add about Ram is that if you look at it, she's not safe on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you could definitely take your turn in a lot of instances, and she's punishable on some things too, especially like you miss like a Daro or whatever, or you do some things that you feel like you're trying to bait the person into pressing a button.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't remember what those records were on block, but I want to say that you could definitely like take your turn back, and in some of those instances you're at the point to where you have to kind of commit or play the RPS on whether you're going to do the last record or not.
Right.
And at that point, you're kind of like boned because the person, they can just react to it or they can just like softly do an intermittent mash, not just a very quick mash like most people. They're tapping it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just like tap 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 tap,
Trying to interrupt like the flow, basically.
yeah, you doing a rhythm to where if they do press a button, you're still going to be in some sort of block stun because of the rhythm that you tapped it.
Mm-hmm.
But also to where if they don't press a button, you'll be able to take your turn back.
Yeah, that's one of those like I guess you could say it's like an option select in a sense. Like if they leave a gap, they'll get mashed on. If they leave it gapless, then okay, cool. But at the same time, if you block it, like so, just to confirm with y'all. So yeah, if they delay it too long to try to go for the second record or try to like rinse and repeat that pressure, try to like reset that pressure, you can steal your turn back. But on the flip side, if it's airtight, the mash isn't gonna come out, or like basically I don't say the mash, but like your retaliation won't come out. So if they commit, no retaliation, but now you can visually confirm, okay, I can take my turn back now because this now they've committed, they're negative enough for me to take my turn back. So if they're like -5, you know, that's enough to make something happen. Like they have to respect you unless she uses super, which let's just be serious here. Like I feel like maybe nowadays, since she has a reversal super that's pretty good, like these Ram players are kind of throwing it out there. So I can kind of understand you want to kind of like play that RPS game, but if you guess wrong, you know, you're gonna have to burst that, and if you burst that and it gets baited, you're back into another situation where you're gonna take that same combo, you're gonna take double the damage because, you know, you're gonna take the initial hit, which could be, I don't think she's in counter state on recovery that super. So even if you hit her and she decides to like, you know, burst, it's like, well, you're gonna take a combo anyway it goes. So you have to be content with that decision making. So yeah, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother thing we're getting into there with Ram. But like, yeah, that's kind of.
I feel like she's using supers now, like kind of like before a little bit. Like you saw a bunch of the laser super in YRC back then, but you know, you're seeing some of that in RC. It's just costing 100 now.
Yeah.
You know, this also being used as chip setups and you know, some damage in combos or OTG or whatever. Kind of like, it reminds me of Trance, the way Trance was used.
Yeah, Trance used to use,
Rev.
I can see it.
It's just that I do think that I think she's good for what the game is, just not as good as she used to be, of course. But also just things that she's missing. She doesn't have just frame Daro, or was that a green Daro?
Yeah, just green Daro.
She doesn't have Cassius.
Yeah.
The little air Rekka blades, they're still kind of like meh. No jump D's not like I was.
Thank God.
So I feel like she's good though.
Thank God.
Yeah. I feel like she's good though. It's just that, you know, people are like, yeah, she's cheap, but I feel like people were not around for that other stuff. So they, you know, this is as cheap as it's gonna get, because it's like, oh, okay, well, the sword exploded. Okay, well, so even then, for what it's worth, once the swords explode, you just only really have to deal with that. You just deal with Ram, block it out, whatever you need to block out. She has to retrieve the swords. It goes back to what I was saying before about she doesn't have the swords. She has to hold some of that pressure if you're able to close that gap, or you're able to block out what she does and take your turn back. She has to wait for the sword to come back.
Yep. That's I mean, I'm gonna make a video on Ram actually, I think about it, but I guess as we're talking about her now, I guess kind of like a precursor to that for you guys. It's kind of like one thing to note about Ram that's pretty huge that a lot of us legacy players who have been playing Xrd know about Ram is like she doesn't have access to her sword normals when she gets rid of a sword. So if she does slash heavy slash into H sword, that means she's only left with far slash. And there's not much she can really do off of that in this current game at the moment. Sure, she can go far slash, maybe fish for the counter hit, far slash into slash sword toss now. But it's like, now you're left with no swords, you know, which leaves her back to being scrambled all in the air. You know, those great, amazing footsies are no longer prevalent anymore, and she's got to take to the sky. So, like, that's kind of a thing she's kind of always had. So, like, you do have to get the sword back, you know. Like, a lot of people are kind of jumping to conclusions about her. But I'll say one thing for sure right now about her that she didn't have previously is her footsies weren't amazing in, like, Xrd, like, at all. Like, her Oki was really good. Her ability to take it to the corner was really good. Now, she still has a lot of that taking it to the corner being really good. Obviously, damage, obvious. You know, she can wall break, etc., etc. But, you know, what makes her super good now is her ground game. And it's a really big, important part of, you know, Strive right now is the ground game. So,
Yeah,
But
it's better than what it was for sure.
yeah,
I would say that, she seems like she might be easier to play because the sword shoot does a lot for
oh yeah,
the first.
it puts
So
in
you
work.
do anything into the sword shoot, you get hit in the corner, it explodes. You do the other one, you're basically at wall break at that point. It's
Yep,
easy peasy.
man.
So as opposed to, I would say that it's potent for what it is, as opposed to Rev sword set was, well, when you couldn't hit the swords, and
Oh
even when you
lord,
could hit them, it was ridiculous because even then you had to deal with air tech,
tech
double
set,
jump set,
tech set, tech
tech
set.
that recall. She can recall at will. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to now, she got to wait. She either go get it or she got to wait 8 seconds or whatever it was to get it back.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, man, I guess we'll just talk about RAM now. I guess a little bit, but just to put some, proof in the pudding here with this, when we say tech set, right? So you set swords or you unsummon, right? So there's situations in Sign, right, where I'll give you an example. If she's in the air and she gets hit out of the air, right? You can and she air recovers, right? More often than not, you're gonna forward tech because it launches you up, right? Or you can back tech if you want, or neutral tech. It doesn't matter which one you pick. It doesn't really make a difference, right? But the idea is like you recover and you mash set and or recover or recall swords. And what happens is Ram lobs up into the air. And in Sign 1.0, you couldn't hit the sword sets. Like you would just get popped. And she can fall down and confirm on you if it was a counter hit. Or she could tech set YRC. And it's like, did you get hit? Yes, okay. Whatever. Party time. Did you block it? Okay, cool. Party time. So it'd be like tech set, oh, you got hit set. And then even though you would stagger out, you would still have to deal with the second sword if she had both swords available. Or like you use it tech set to stall your aerial recovery. Like, so you could still stay in the air. So it's like she had all this ridiculous stuff like airborne with like set swords that like if she had it now, it honestly would be kind of nutso for this game, to be honest.
For this game, for sure, it would definitely be nuts with the pace and the movement the way that it is now.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I mean, I we could hark all day about this character, but this is really about Axel. So, I mean, I guess going back to
say back to Axel, the couple of things that I didn't mention. I think against Nago, he has a positive matchup.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Let's dissect this matchup because I know this is definitely one that we talked about. So let's kind of give the people a little bit of the insight that you have. You don't got to give all the juicy tidbits, but just a little taste, a little smidgen on how you feel about this matchup.
So I played some JP Nagos, a bunch of them, and I also played a nice long set against Mad Jacket. Shout outs to Mad Jacket,
the homie.
We played a bunch, and it was lopsided, to be frank, but it was also because like the range that Axel covered and different things like I was taking advantage of landing, catching the landing with the command grab. Because
from the super jump, right?
Yeah. So from what it's worth, right? If you measure him from the full screen, he's not going completely full screen. He's only going a certain range, even if he does super jump. So you super jump forward, you can react to it with the amount of time that he has, and also he has longer startup on his jump.
Yeah, it's like 10 frames.
You look at it for what it is. He's not changing his trajectory also because he can't air dash and he's not going to super jump. He's not going to double jump.
Facts.
So it seemed like it was somewhat easier to deal with from further away as opposed to up close. Because people tend to tense up whenever somebody jumps in somebody's face. That's true. I felt like that was really strong. Whenever he got a chance to go into Blood Rage, you just stay away. Feints into to coerce them to give up the super was effective. If he activated from full screen, of course, Axel could punish him on reaction, even late reaction. sickle flash, command grab, those sorts of things were effective. If he had one vision, then it was any hit was a bad time for him.
Actually, come to think
Uh,
about it, since you're on one vision, just real quick, in Blood Rage, if you activate one vision, if you've done it, does his HP still drain?
that's something I actually didn't test.
Okay.
That would be pretty messed up, huh? But
yeah, it would be messed up.
Testing the messed up stuff, I did test that thing about one vision against Chip Gamma Blade, and both chips got hit and both chips took damage. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case for Nago. His blood rage actually made him lose life during the freeze.
And I say that because if you burst him, he still takes that damage, and if he bursts, he still takes that damage.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I was like, man, I wonder if one vision halts the drain. But all right, something to test.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting too. I mean, for what it's worth, like, I wouldn't be surprised because he gets a harsh penalty for going into Blood Rage. However, he has a very high reward for damn near any hit.
Yes. But I feel like in that matchup, he just can't really get that hit. Like,
He's not always going to be allowed to get that hit, that's for sure.
Cause I feel like 2S was it just a typical buttons. You just keep him at bay. Like, sure, if he hits you, yeah. But like, I feel like it'd probably be another match where you can kind of easily get one vision against him, and that's kind of like, I don't want to make it seem like it's doom and gloom like that. Like that's the match. But like, it seems like you have such a huge upper hand because, like, okay, let's look at the other dynamic of it, right? You also still have access to blue RC when you have the 50. So it's kind of like he's kind of at your mercy in that regard, no? Like, having the blue RC on top of one vision? It's kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, right? So
it's kind of crazy thinking about it.
He's a big character too, so like the typical things that Axel can do is really effective. The fuzzy is really good on him, even for like round sake. So he's like one of those other characters that you can kind of like jump on and do stuff with if people don't react. He just has that one reversal super. But then at that point, once that's gone, then what?
Oh man, you gonna make me test some stuff now. I'm thinking now, dude. Oh man, I just thought about some because he's really given up a whole lot. And I mean, jump H for him is really strong too. But I feel like that's such an easy anti-air for Axel off of 2S, especially from the super jump.
Yeah, for sure.
And since his mobility is kind of like, man,
the landing recovery, if you do it from too far, it's kind of crazy. So you can kind of telegraph it, like pump a little bit, make them jump. Even just the command grab, just scoop them up as soon as they land because they got that landing recovery when they do jump H.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about it. That's the other thing. His mobility options are just not there. So like, I really wonder, like, exactly, like, how does it whiff punish you? Like, it seems like it's such a low committal match for Axel at that stage.
Yeah, it really feels like it too, right? So if he does things like command dash, sickle flash, pretty much deads all of that. Even his regular normals, 5P, 2H, 2P, those are nice long range moves. Mm-hmm. Even if he does it up close, what I noticed is that if he does certain strings into command dash for a gimmick, then a lot of times you could just throw him out of that in particular, unless he moves backwards.
I know you had to be careful if he did his version of Gamma Blade, but like I can see that. I mean, he just treated like how Goichi did against what's his name, Nage, right? Or I'm sorry, Nage did against Goichi when he was trying to abuse the command dash, just kind of scoop him out of it.
Yeah, because so if throws are supposed to be like 2 frames, and he's slightly minus on that, and I did see punish on some of those times when I did it. Depending on the normal he's canceling from, and he tries to do that as a gimmick, he should be throwable.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, of course he's gonna have to mix up his options, but like he has to get there first. And I think that's kind of where Axel wins in that point, because he's using a lot of sickle flash to like, it's a special move and it's building meter. You know, a 2H, a 5P, a 2P, all that stuff being canceled into sickle flash. And it's like, dang. Like, and you get explosions, so it's like, golly, man. Like, he has to hold so much.
Yeah, raw command dash is not good too, because even if I just, guessed and I just did command grab, it just chases him.
Yeah, I kind of
so like he has to hold a bunch, even if he's full screen, he has to hold sickle flash, bomb into chip damage, or whether he does it for a frame trap, the bomb. He has to hold a lot of shit. Oh man, and let's not forget Air Snail as a footsie.
I was just about to talk about that. I was just about to ask you about that. It sounded like that's looking like one of his best matchups based on this conversation.
Shout out to Bad Jacket. He was complaining about that move. It did seem like it did a lot in that matchup in particular.
So like, if you had to say it sounds like to me, that's kind of safe to say that was kind of like your most favorite match. Like, you feel like that's kind of like maybe your favorite match with Axel, or maybe like a very favorable matchup for Axel right now.
It felt like it was very favorable, but I'd like to play it more before I could give a more informed answer. But that was just how I felt on initially.
Yeah. Yeah, things have changed over time, of course.
I also felt like maybe Zato seemed like it was a little bit of a favorable matchup.
It's a matchup that you don't get to see a lot in the old Guilty Gears, but like, Axel did kind of, I don't say give him the business, but you give him a hard time. Because 5P goes over Invite Hell, like in the old games. And
yeah, man, I felt like, in some instances, right, you couldn't do summon full screen.
Oh no.
It was not an option. Even if you want to use that little shield that he has for some coverage and try to run in, he couldn't be on the ground. Couldn't be on the ground because like the command grab could still snatch him up. Sickle Flash was really good against the summon and all of those things in general.
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of stuff too was underrated. The backflip move where he slices the ankles. I think it was Rainwater.
Yeah, Rainwater. That's Rainwater.
Rainwater was an underrated move, I would say. So it's a good move to confirm up close, or even to just move backwards and have some sort of evasion technique. Because a lot of times, he doesn't have a DP. He doesn't have too much to get away. A lot of mobility issues. Sometimes his backdash is just okay. You can instant air backdash, but I would say Rainwater was effective in getting away from a lot of stuff. It helped
being really good against throws too.
Yeah, against throws, it was actually a pretty good shimmy too, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd imagine for shimmy, that's kind of, because I know I got hit by it. So, but yeah,
it's a pretty good shimmy, especially for throws, and instant air, overhead jump H was a good shimmy. 6H was a good shimmy, of course. I mean,
the character, man.
Yeah, he had good stuff.
Character had I swear, man, I feel like he's pretty damn complete, man. To be honest with you, you feeling really complete.
It was a good thing against Pot too. Like, if you're playing the game against Hammerfall, anything that connects, you can do different moves for the second hit to cancel out Hammerfall. Up close, if you're guessing and you hit 5P, you could actually go into 6P, interrupts it. He's in counter hit state on the second hit. I noticed on his Hammerfall, when he started it up, he was in counter hit state a little bit before the armor started up. There's a small gap before he puts his arms around you where he's vulnerable with no armor. You can throw it, of course.
Yeah.
If he does something like you do 2H and you're anticipating Hammerfall and he does slide head, it connects with the armor, you could just do Rainwater. You're not on the ground, you don't get hit by slide head. So he has a lot of things.
So much utility in this kit.
Yeah, yeah. he has options. You know, I labbed it out for sure.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I would expect nothing less. I wouldn't expect nothing less from you. It's coming regarding any character you play in this game.
You got to, man. You got to be prepared, or unless you get hit by something that you don't know what's going on.
Facts. So we talked about Axel a good bit, so let's switch gears for a tiny bit because we're creeping up on an hour here. It's been a really good session. Let's talk about how you feel about Anji, because I know you've expressed interest in Anji. So based on what you've seen so far from the demonstration breakdown, from what you've seen so far, what you think? What's your current thoughts? Not you seeing his kit for Strive in particular.
Well, I don't have much experience against Anji. I didn't really play Plus R. I'm trying to learn a little bit of it, by myself, of course.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to identify some things that I'm seeing. It looks like he's not too far off from how he plays in Plus R. It just seems that Fujin is more of a special move motion as opposed to, people said that he had a 6H guard point, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So seems like he has that and follow-ups. I mean, it's interesting for sure. I'd like to have him as a secondary if there's an issue with people pressing buttons. I would say maybe that there might be an issue with that. I would say I'm looking at him for sure against Giovanna, for sure.
Yeah, I can kind of see Gio. I don't know. I think we gotta. I mean, obviously I'll be playing her, so you get the matchup experience for sure. But we definitely got to see how that's gonna play out, because I could definitely see the plus range kind of give him a tough time.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, what's up with this frame data? But of course, I'm gonna lab that stuff out anyway. But that was something I didn't have a chance to get into because it was a balancing act between do I lab this or do I play with Japan? And I've been wanting to play against them for a long time.
Okay. I guess probably one of the last things I'll talk to you about. So let's talk about playing Japan. It's like, oh, I was playing, let's talk about these Japan matches, these online lobbies. Like, how are you feeling about that, man? Because I know for you in particular, I know me and you talked about this countless times and Xer. Like, if only we were able to like really kind of get that experience against them. Like, how did it feel to just know you could just pull up in the lobby in the comfort of your own home and just pull up on like RF or like Goichi or Dogra or something? You know what I'm saying?
It felt great, although a lot of those names I couldn't understand what they meant, but they all felt really solid. Like even the ones that I felt were quote unquote random, their skill level was like really good. So I did like, I would say about half 50-50 wins losses out there. I learned a lot that whole time, and even in those sets where they allowed me to play more than one game, or they pulled up to me and then we played long sets. Those were things that I learned a lot. They were very valuable.
For sure.
I feel like the rollback was great. It was really good being able to do that because otherwise I was not going to be able to play a Japanese person unless I went to Evo.
Yep. This is true. This is very true. That's the only time we ever really get a chance to play them, unless we actually get up, we go fly out there and spend the dough. You know what I'm saying? Well, they're sitting at home doing the same thing that we're, we spent all this money to fly out there, and they're already at the comfort of their own home. Saying run out to Mikado, that's gonna cost them XYZ dollars just to hit the train. But like the fact that we spent moving forward into the game coming out, we spend a one-time fee to just sit here at the crib to be able to play them. Oh yeah, it's too good. It's too good.
That was invaluable because even then you look at it for what it's worth, right? Like you develop some relationships with people overseas, so you become cool with some of these Japanese that we met like at Evo. And even online communicating through Twitter, exchanging tech and stuff like that, DMs, you'll be able to actually play them and test stuff and lab out matchups and, be able to connect with one another in different cultures across the world because of the fact that the net play is stable. That's very important.
This is true. And there's other people I know in the EU. I definitely want to try to get some games in and see how they're developing on that. And it's obviously, guys, not just about playing against Japan, but like just being able to be like, for example, Wawa's playing the game now, so it's like, hold on.
Yeah, I like to be able to play against them too, and I played some pretty dope Koreans too.
Oh,
honestly,
yes, I definitely. Korea seemed to love Nagaryuki a ton, so I remember playing a good chunk of Korean players playing Nagaryuki.
Oh
so
yeah, man, they
love
were
that
all
character.
over.
They love that character.
I got a bunch of those guys playing him, and they played some of everything. Honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's just cool that we get to see the regional differences from the comfort of our own home now, instead of just watching tournament matches or, kind of hoping and praying that we could actually get a chance to play against them. Now that's like a reality now, we're just at the press of a button, just go into a lobby and boom, what's up? Let's get it.
It's way more convenient, man. And, I told you this before. We've had this conversation more than once. Whenever I got a chance to play the Japanese at EVO in 2015, especially 2016, it was a great feeling, and it was a feeling that I was never able to capture again. It's like that person that gets high for the first or second time, and it's that great high, and they keep chasing it, and they're addicted because they can't get that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like I knew that I wasn't going to get that again, and it made me feel dejected, kind of depressed about it, honestly, because I felt like that drive and that desire, that level of competition, being able to go back and forth and learn, and the strength of those players was night and day. Yeah. So, it was not being able to experience that except one weekend a year, it was pretty dejecting.
Yeah. And now I could do it at any, any day
of
the week.
Oh, yeah, man.
Any day of the
week. Late night. Oh, yeah, I'm pulling up. Yeah, or man. Early in the morning on the weekend, I'm pulling up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what it's about, man. Trying to just see the regional differences, test the stuff that works from here over there. Like, I don't know, man. This is I feel like the future of this game is gonna be bright in terms of international competition, man. It's about to be nuts.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be nuts too, and being able to follow them is gonna be the exciting part. Because I like to look at stuff and review the tapes, dog.
Oh, that's definitely you. Let me tell you guys watching this. This guy here is silent. This guy will find the archives. He will go through the catacombs. He will pull the Indiana Jones and bust out the lost archives that the least you'd ever expect. Like, man, wait, these guys played this. Oh yeah, right here. What? How'd you find that? Look, man. I had to go through the catacombs. I had to jump over the moon. Had to slay a few goats. But we out here like, damn, bro.
Man, that treacherous terrain led me to the wastelands called Nico.
There you go. That is true. And I know you know how to flex those JP tags. I'm still terrible at that.
Lord. Those tags, in comparison to everything, that was the easiest part. It was just more like the damn quality.
Those early Jonio streams, 144p.
Oh my god. Everything that they ripped off of there seemed like it was 144p. And then if you didn't catch stuff live, man, you didn't get anything on the archives of Nico because you had to sub and pay this and that. Man, man.
It's too much.
Sorry, man. It's gone in the wind.
Facts. All right, man. We creeping up on an hour here. This is just about as long as I want it to be. Man, you already know, man. You already know what it is, man. We could chop it up all day on this, man. This is for y'all that don't know. This is light work. This is us riffing on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I'm just bringing it to y'all in a palatable format. I know it's a little long, but I want you guys to listen to someone who is one of my closest friends. One of my greatest rivals, greatest training partners. You name it. And I know that this guy has a great mind for it. So I wanted you guys to hear it from the source. You know what I'm saying? From the source. All right. So you're not, like I said, I have my opinion, but I want y'all to hear it from the training partner, the source. So, but before we get up out of here, Silent, any last words, shout outs, anything like that you want to bust out before we close out here?
I appreciate you hitting me up, giving me a chance to speak, give me a platform and everything.
You already know.
Appreciate what you do for the scene and Guilty Gear and stuff like that. The positive vibes and everything, man. Appreciate what you're doing, and glad to see your channel getting the growth and the recognition that it deserves. I know that you're gonna make a big mark in the game. I'm trying to do too.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everybody in the H Town scene. You know, of course, my family and friends and everybody. So I'm just ready to try to get it in this work, and hopefully, whenever the game comes out, you know, I'll have a stream schedule. Get back to that, and then be
Absolutely.
adding videos and hopefully make them look decent and they don't look like rinky dink. You know,
Don't worry, I got y'all. You already know. I'm gonna help you out with that. B. Easy peasy.
Roger that.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man. I guess on my end, you already know what it is. You already know, man. It's always a pleasure riffing with you on the characters. You know, it is what it is, man. We do this on a regular, man. We just doing it in video format. This ain't for those y'all watching. This really is nothing. This is a normal conversation between us. Obviously, huh?
I said, oh, for sure.
Yeah, like, you know, the only difference is I kind of nitpicked a little bit more to make it a little bit more intrusive so we can learn a little bit more, you know. But when I say intrusive, is in like kind of like dig into the mind of Sylintasassyn here for the character. So, you know, like I said, this is just normal, man. If this was us in the Discord, it'd be even more hot and heavy with it. Trust me, like we would definitely be going off. And no worries, guys. There's gonna be more of this with Silent. This is not gonna be the last time you're gonna see him on here. Trust me. There's some other guys here in the Houston area that I want you guys to kind of like meet and learn stuff about, that are playing Strive and Guilty Gear as a whole. And there'll be other people as well, not just from my region, but we'll get down to that further down the line. But I'm gonna go and call it a day on this one, you guys. I say every video go play more Guilty Gear, so I'm not gonna exhaust that. Go play more Guilty Gear, and yeah, we're gonna get up out of here for this video. So y'all take care, have yourselves a good one, stay safe in these COVID streets. All right, so we out of here. Peace, y'all.